everyone, welcome. Runners, this is for you. So this is some targeted stretches. These would be great for after a run to help cool down and great for recovery so that hopefully you can keep running and your knees and hips and feet can stay happy and healthy. Let's start. So nothing too fancy here to begin with. Hands and knees. We'll just take that right leg forwards. You can swing it out to the side and bring it in between your hands or however you want to get it forwards. Back knee stays on the ground. If it feels sensitive here at all, then just either double over your mat or slide a folded up blanket or towel or even a pillow underneath your back knee. Let's hug that front knee, front thigh right in, nice and square. Hands to either side of your foot, and then you can really lean forward. So you're leaning your chest and your belly forwards onto that front thigh. Let your hips sink towards the ground. So you're just giving your hips over to gravity here. Let your belly relax. You can even let your head hang forwards. So the focus to start off with is that back leg, those hip flexors. Just starting to open up into there. So heavy, heavy hips. Nice, steady, deep breaths. So you can inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose, or if you feel like you've got a lot of gripping or tension to release, you can inhale through your nose and exhale out of your mouth if that feels good. Heavy, heavy hips, about one more breath here. And then some of you may want to just stay here. The offering is to walk your hands up on top of your front thigh, even your forearms up on top of your front thigh. But the key is to not bring your hips back. You want to keep your hips really sinking forwards, just like really give in to gravity here with the weight of your pelvis. So with your forearms or your hands on top of that front thigh, you can just draw your shoulders slightly back and down. Chest is nice and broad. Keep your belly relaxed. Sink your hips, sink your hips. Another breath or two. Stay easy through your face, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. And then let's release. So take your hands down to the inside of your front foot. And then walk your right foot out to that outside edge of your mat there. And we'll come into a shape called funky pigeon. So your right knee is going to just relax outwards. So I'm letting my right knee wing out towards the right side, and you can just naturally roll towards the outside edge of your right foot. So let's start off. Some of you may stay up on your hands or walk your hands forward. Some of you may be able to lower all the way down onto your forearms. And you're just letting your chest and your head be heavy here. You could even make a little stack of your hands and rest your forehead onto that stack of your fists if you want. Keep letting that right knee really swing out towards the right side. Big deep breaths. So really focus on steady, smooth inhale, steady, smooth exhale. That's the difference between just stretching or just exercising and yoga, is the really conscious breath, the really deliberate, focused breath. Some of you may want to just stay here. If you'd like to add on a little bit, you can come on up onto your hands. Walk your hands over towards that left corner of your mat. Drop down again onto your left forearm, and then crawl your right hand away from you, away from your right hip as far as you can, as you continue to sink that right knee out towards the right side. So you can check that in for a couple breaths if you want. Again, really deliberate breaths, nice and slow, nice and deep. And then let's walk walk it back in. Come on up to your hands. Moan and groan if you need to. Walk your right foot back into the center of your hands again. And then draw your hips back so they stack on top of that back knee. And extend your front leg for a half split. So you're really pointing, drawing your right toes so they point up towards the ceiling. The more that you flex that foot, the more you're going to also be lengthening out through your Achilles, through your calf muscles, as well as obviously into your hamstrings. So you can stay up on your fingertips. Do try to stay kind of easy through your upper body, so maybe you shrug your shoulders around a little bit so you're not clamping down or creating more tension. Try to release whatever tension you can and take those big deep breaths. You're welcome to fold down over top of that front leg a little bit, or even take some little ripples up and down. You can inhale to rise up, and exhale to ripple down. Important to hang out with these stretches maybe a little bit longer than we might want to really get the full benefit of them. If we're just like, oh yeah, I feel the stretch and I'm done, we don't really get a chance, our bodies don't really get a chance to, first of all, settle in, relax into the stretch, and then to start to lengthen out those muscle fibers and connective tissue fibers. So we gotta hang out for a little time to really get the benefits of these stretches. That being said, let's start to release now. So bend your right knee. Now we're going to take that back leg, that back shin, and just kind of scooch it forward. So I'm sitting on my left shin, my left thigh is nice and parallel, right foot is flat to the ground. Now hands come on back behind me, behind you. You can have your fingers pointing towards the back of your mat. And for some of you, just leaning back here, you may start to feel a bit of a stretch through that left quadricep, and that may be enough. You just want to like hang out there, that's great. If it's okay, on your knee, on your lower back, you can start to press your hips up away from the ground, up away from that left heel. And just pause for a few breaths there. And then slowly lower your hips back down again if you had them lifted. You could even do that a couple times if you like doing that. You could go up and down a few times. For now, though, we'll release. Walk your hands forwards again. Just step that left foot towards the back of your mat. Release your right foot back. And switch sides. So left leg is going to swing forwards. Get your foot in between your hands. Double up your mat or put something underneath that back knee if you want that bit of support. And then sink your hips, sink your hips, sink your hips. Heavy, heavy, heavy hips. Really give into gravity there. So I'm actually putting the full palms of my hands down onto the ground and really letting my chest and my belly lean forwards onto that front thigh. You can even let your head hang. Big breaths, free, easy breathing. Continue to sink your hips forwards, making lots of space in the front of that right hip and right thigh. So again here, nice and focused breath, so you can bring a lot of attention to your inhale and your exhale being smooth, not choppy, but nice and smooth. Long, steady stream of breath as it comes in and as it goes out. So your inhales and your exhales are mirrored to each other in length and in quality. Now some of you, maybe you just stay here. Okay. Again, we can walk our hands up on top of that front thigh, going nice and slow. Maybe your forearms rest, maybe your hands press. Again, try to make sure that your hips don't draw up away from the ground here, but you continue to allow your hips to really drop forwards towards the mat, like that full release of the weight of your pelvis with gravity. Notice if there's any of your shoulders gathering up or tensing up, try to let them go. Relax into the back of your throat and jaw. Little soft shrug of your shoulders back and down, keeping your chest nice and broad. Couple more. Nice, powerful breaths, focused breaths here. Okay, releasing your hands down. Now we'll walk our left foot wide towards the left side of our mat, hands to the inside. That funky pigeon shape, so you're letting your left knee swing wide towards the left, rolling towards that pinky edge of your foot slightly. Rest on your hands, or maybe just walk your hands forwards. Maybe release to your forearms. Again, you can make a stack of your fists to rest your forehead on. You can let your head drop, your chest kind of slump here. It's okay to let this be kind of, a little bit soft and floppy. Keep your hips really heavy. Let that left knee swing wide as far as it's willing to go. And breathe deep. Deep, free, easy breaths. So here again, if you want to just stay where you are, stay where you are. If you want to add on that sort of side reach, then come back up onto your hands and walk them just up over towards that right side of your mat slightly. Lower back down onto your right forearm. And then crawl your left hand away from you. Left arm stretches out really long. And then keep that left knee swinging wide out to the left side. Hang out there. Sink in, breathe deep. Really feel everything that is rising up. Feel all the feels, feel all the sensations. And continue to breathe those deep, calm breaths as you do so. Okay, walk your hands back in. Come on up through center. Heel toe that left foot back into the middle of both hands. And then draw your hips back so we can lengthen that front leg coming into our half split. Nice square hips, nice square thighs, left toes point skywards. Really flex that foot again so you get that nice lengthening of both the hamstring but also your calf muscles and your Achilles down there. And then sink in, keep it easy, keep it relaxed wherever you can. Feel free to bow down slightly over top of your leg, or again, you could take those little ripples with your breath, inhaling to rise, exhaling to soften down. Keep going with your own pace of breath. Doing your best to keep your breathing nice and slow, nice and steady, so there isn't any fast and pumping breath there, but you're really signaling to your body this nice calm and steady energy by slowing down and deepening your breath. Okay, let's release. Bend your left knee. Now we're taking that back leg, your right shin, and just kind of scooching it forwards. Your shin is on the ground, your left foot is on the ground, and then lean back, fingertips pointing towards the back of your mat. If you're going to keep your bum down on your heel there, you can even just walk as far back as you want to go and hang out there. You don't have to do anything else. Again, if it's okay, and only if it's okay with that right knee, you could press your hips up away from your right heel. And take a nice couple deep breaths there. Or you could kind of lift up and then lower down, lift up, lower down, so you could do a few rounds if you want. And then sink your hips back down nice and slow. Walk your hands forwards. Shift your right leg back. Now this time we're going to come to downward facing dog. So feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. Lengthen your arms as long as possible. Let your head hang and drop. And now really let your heels drop towards the ground. And let's take a little pedal of our feet here. So we're lengthening out through the backs of the legs, again down through your calves and Achilles. So let your right heel sink, sink, sink towards the ground as you bend your left knee a little bit more. Take a full breath. And then switch, pedal to the other side. Left heel heavy, right knee bends. One full breath. If you'd like to continue with that once more, go ahead. Nice little pedal. And switch. Good. Okay, from here, lower your knees to the ground. Hug your inner knees and your inner thighs and your inner ankles together so that your toes, I'll turn around for a second, your toes are going to tuck underneath. You can even use your hands to help encourage your pinky toes to kind of tuck back as well. Keep those inner ankle bones hugging together, and now sit back, sit your bum back onto your heels and gather yourself up nice and tall. So this is a foot stretch. Now these are really important, especially if you're doing a lot of running, to stretch out through the soles of your feet, right? That's a lot of impact, a lot of muscles that are being used down there, and this can really help to relieve any plantar fasciitis or to keep plantar fasciitis from setting in. So this toe stretch here, let's sit back. If it's challenging for you, you can take a nice big sigh, flutter out through your lips, keep your jaw relaxed, your shoulders easy. And you can hang out here for a good long time. If it's really challenging for you, then you can come out of it a little bit sooner. So let's release, hands forwards, untuck your toes, and you can kind of tap out the tops of your feet there just to release. And one more foot stretch. We're going to keep our inner ankles, inner knees again hugged together. Sit down so the tops of your feet are flat on the ground. The arches of your feet are flat on the ground. Reach your fingertips back behind you. Actually, the full palm of your hand is probably going to be a little bit easier. And then lean back and lift your knees slightly up off the ground. So this is going to be stretching the arches of your feet, but it's kind of hard to stretch into your shin muscles. I know it might not even feel like anything, but it is lengthening out slightly through the fronts of your ankles, your shins, and the tops of your feet. Hang out there for another breath if you can. And then carefully take your knees back down to the ground. Walk your hands forwards and return to downward facing dog. All right, from here, let's bring our right leg forwards. So right shin's going to drag forwards into a pigeon stretch. So right knee as wide as your right shoulder, and then your right heel can be closer to your pubic bone if your hips are really tight, or you can walk your foot a little bit further forwards if you want to get a deeper stretch there. With your back toes, you can sort of scooch back and down to lower your hips towards the ground. And then let's walk forwards with our hands. You're kind of lengthening out through your waist there. Come on down to your forearms. And it's a great idea to rest your head on something here so that your neck has a chance to release. So again, maybe stack of your fists, or if you had a yoga block around, you could rest your forehead on a yoga block, or even all the way down onto the ground. So hanging out in our pigeon stretch, big full breaths again. Sink into the floor so there isn't a sense of sort of tightening and trying to hover off of the ground, but you're really allowing your weight, your body, your bones to soften and melt down into the floor. No resistance here. Keep your belly relaxed. Keep those breaths nice and deep. Take one more full breath. And then rise up. Shift your weight over into into your right hip so you can swing your back leg around to the front. So your left leg's coming all the way around. And we'll make sort of like a double stack of our legs. So bring that right shin forwards a bit more so it's parallel to the top of your mat. And then just take your left ankle in front of your right knee. So you've got this nice sort of box or square shape with your legs. You can flex your feet there a little bit to protect your knee joints. Sit up nice and tall, and then we're going to rotate around to the right. So right fingertips behind you, left hand to the outside of your right thigh, twist around towards the right. Get a nice spiral through your chest, through your spine. And then from there, you're going to lean down towards that right side of your mat. So walk your hands kind of out towards the right and start to tip your head and bow down. Now, as you do this, make sure that your left hip doesn't pop off the floor. Try to keep that left hip nice and anchored. And I'll turn a little bit more so you can see a bit better. So you're kind of leaning over towards the side, letting your head hang, and keeping that left hip really anchored to the floor. Again, a few nice deep breaths there. And then you can just walk yourself through towards center. So you're going to fold over top of both legs in this double pigeon shape. And then rise on up, and we're going to check all of that in on the other side. So you can just cross your ankles, shift through, downward facing dog. And when you're ready, left leg comes forwards into pigeon shape. So left knee nice and wide. Either left heel closer towards the center of your pelvis for a gentler stretch, or left foot walks further forwards for a deeper stretch. Take that little scooch of your back foot to lower your hips towards the ground. And then walk it forwards and down to release. Bring your head to the floor, to your hands, or to your yoga block, whatever you've got around, and then that big sense of a sigh, of releasing the weight of your body into the floor, letting gravity do the work for you here without resisting. Again, feel everything that you've got going on, and breathe deep into that sensation. Keep your belly soft, so you're not clenching or tightening through your center, through your abdominals. Just letting your belly be nice and easy so there's lots of room for your breathing. And then let's rise on up. Shift your weight into that left hip. Swing your back leg, your right leg around to the front. And we're making that sort of double pigeon shape, that square shape again. Left shin a bit further forward so it's square to the top of your mat. Right shin in front. Flex your feet slightly. Sit nice and tall. Now we'll rotate to the left. Left hand tense behind you. Right hand to outside of your left thigh. Twist around here for just a breath. So nice and tall, spiral around. And then we're going to lean it over towards that left side. So you can take your hands, walk them over and down. I know it's a little awkward, it's a little squishy, but it's good. Let your head drop. Your forearms can kind of sink towards the ground. Again, be mindful that your right hip doesn't lift off the ground. Keep that right hip really anchored to the floor, and you're stretching up and over away from that right hip. Deep breaths, just a few rounds of nice deep inhales and exhales. Slowly walk through towards the center. So you're going to fold over top of both legs. And then rise on up. From here, let's shake the legs out a little bit and lower down onto our backs. So just scoot yourself down. all the way down. Take a nice little brief twist from side to side. So let's hug our knees in towards our chest. And then keeping that nice stack of your thighs, gather your knees all the way over towards the left side of your mat and sweep your right arm open towards the right side. Take about 2 or 3 deep breaths in and out. And then we're going to switch sides. So just a nice little quick twist, nothing too crazy and long. Come on back up through center, knees hug in, and then take your legs over towards the right side of your mat. Your knees want to be nice and high, like belly button height. I like to hold on to my top thigh with my opposite hand to help anchor the legs, and then really stretch that other arm, so in this case left arm nice and wide. Again, about 3 slow breaths in and out. Keep that sense of really releasing into the ground, dropping into the ground. And then we'll come back to center. And the very last thing we'll do here, really excellent for balancing out the energy of the lower body, the upper body. Let's take our hands and just kind of slide them underneath our butt cheeks. If you happen to have a pillow nearby, you could slide it underneath your pelvis. So just a tiny little lift or elevation of your pelvis, and then we'll stretch our legs straight up towards the ceiling. Shake out your legs a little bit here, shimmy out your feet, your legs, so that your muscles are really relaxed, and then little tiny bends, just relaxed knees, relaxed ankles. Your legs don't have to be touching or in any particular alignment. Just let your legs kind of dangle in the air above you. And we'll hang out here. You could do this for a nice long time if you want to. This is a great way of encouraging any swelling in your feet to come down. So if you've gone for a really long run, this would be a great way to help balance and restore through your feet, your ankles, your knees. Great posture for recovery, even just at the end of a long day. If you've been on your feet a lot, is to get your legs up in this restorative inversion. So if you want to just continue to hang out here for as long as feels comfortable, you go ahead. For the sake of this video though, I'm going to come out of it now, so you can bend your knees, drop them in towards your chest, and then give a nice hug of your arms around your knees. Nice little squeeze. Good. Roll on over and come on up, and that is the end for now. So thanks for tuning in. Happy running. Namaste.